Well, howdy everybody out there. Today we are making cowboy candy. I have never made cowboy candy before in my life. So I thought we would give it a whirl and you can follow along with me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. Here's what we need, folks. Jalapenos, otherwise known as jalapenos. I did plant some this year and it took a long time for them to actually show up. This is the biggest harvest that I've had of them. I've had one or two that I've thrown in my salsa, but other than that, that's what we have. Garlic, it asks for 6 teaspoons in this recipe. You know, I don't really measure too much, so I think I did 6 cloves. We'll see what happens. You're gonna need turmeric. You're gonna need celery seed, cayenne pepper, sugar, and apple cider vinegar. That's all we need. I'm gonna get started on chopping these jalapenos. Ugh, I'm not looking forward to that. Guess what I got? I'm Lorianne, and it's Stonehaven Shorts. Join me down here. I know that you can't see me, but that's not a big deal. I'm not important. What is important is that we are slicing these jalapenos and we're trying to do it as thin as possible. I am not a chef. I do not know how to, do the actual chopping action where it takes 3.6 seconds to do it, so bear with me. This is what we're looking at as far as thin as I can get. Now, I don't want you to go through this painful process with me of chopping all of these. So I just wanted to show you what that looked like. I am wearing my protective gloves. When I get all of this chopped up, then we'll talk again. Okay, cowboys and cowgirls. This is how many jalapenos I have. My recipe actually called for almost double that, so I'm halving this recipe because it actually calls for a lot of sugar. This amount, which is like half, is 6 cups of sugar. So make sure you have enough sugar before you start. 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. So this is what we're going to do to make the brine. So I've already got 2 cups of apple cider vinegar in here. I think you could probably use plain vinegar if you had that. It just might have a different flavor. It might not be as sweet. You might want to up your sugar. I don't know. We'll find out. So 6 cups of sugar into that. Ooh, definitely going with the word candy. My garlic. I have 6 cloves of garlic. Ooh, okay. Now, the most amount is turmeric. I'm sorry. It is just a teaspoon of turmeric, celery seed, and your cayenne pepper. I think you could be a little bit more liberal with your cayenne if you feel like your jalapenos aren't super hot, because there are different kinds of jalapenos. So my turmeric is probably just for color, really. I don't think there's a whole lot of flavor in that. I'm gonna up my cayenne just for shits and giggles. There we go. Ooh, yeah, that's a little more than a teaspoon, that's for sure. Celery seed gives it a little bit of texture, teaspoonful. And that's it for the brine. So we're gonna get that onto the stove and get that nice and bubbly. My sealers, I'm just doing tiny jelly jars. I've got about 6 of them. I'm hoping that I can fit it into 6. Those are in the oven warming up to sterilize. So let's get this on the burner, get it boiling, and we'll go to the next step. where things get a little tricky, folks. I've never done this before. So what we have to do, it's not hard, it's just different. I've never had to do it like this before. With a slotted spoon, we're gonna take our peppers out of here, put them into our jars. And then when the syrup, whatever syrup is left over, we're gonna throw it on the heat again for about another 5 minutes. Then we are going to add that syrup back into these jars to suspend those peppers. So let's do a jar and see what happens. Now my jars are still quite warm. I will say that the peppers do shrink a bit, so don't be shy. Actually, I'll get this one closer. Don't be shy with the amount of peppers that you're using. I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot of syrup left over, and that's fine, because if this actually works out good, then I'm going to make another batch. So I'm going to save some of that syrup. Now it said to fill to about a 1/4 inch headspace. I think the sadness that I'm going to experience is that I might not get as many jars as I wanted. So I'm going to go with that amount. And I'll show you what that looks like. See my jars? Just a little warm, but they're not bad. Okay, so I'm going to go about that height in the jars. I'd like to get 3 jars if I could. I don't know how I'm going to. I might only get 2 jars. I don't know, cowboys. I might only get 2 jars out of this batch. Yeah, I'm only going to get 2 jars. And that's fine. You know, for my first try, I mean, maybe it's not going to taste good. So maybe I don't want more than 2 jars. I can't see when you add sugar and jalapenos together how anything can be bad. But you never know. I have screwed up many things before. So let's see where we're at. I'm just about got all, yeah, that was almost perfect estimate at 2 jars. So I overestimated my sterilization of jars, and that's fine. I always sterilize more jars than I need because there's nothing worse than running out of jars when you've got all your stuff to do. Okay, so all we have left is the syrup. I'm going to heat up the burner over there, take it over there, and we'll go to the next step. Just finished boiling that for about another 5 minutes. It is a nice thick syrup. The last step, getting it into our jars. It is hot, my friends. And oh, does that look scrumptious. Lovely. Oh, I'm going to add just a wee bit syrup because in my mind, what I can think of is cream cheese on a cracker and or bread and slopping up that syrup afterwards. Whatever's left in that jar. Now, because this smells and looks so fantastic. I haven't tasted it yet, so that's yet to be determined. I definitely am saving this syrup. And of course, jalapenos are not readily available here in northern Alberta in October. So I'm going to head to the grocery store. I'm going to pick up some more jalapenos. I'm going to add in maybe some red peppers as well and make Christmas cowboy candy. My water bath is heating up, so I know that I'm going to have 1 jar that probably won't last the weekend, so I'm not going to bother sealing that one. The other one I am going to seal, so I'm going to throw that in a water bath for about 10 minutes or so, 10 to 12 minutes. And then I am going to open up this fresh one and serve that up this weekend with some cream cheese and crackers. I hope that you enjoyed this. Drop me a line. definitely avoiding the ordinary here today as a cowboy. If I was a cowboy, as Miranda Lambert says, I'd be the queen. Yeehaw! Enjoy your cowboy candy. See you again.